Hello. Let me start off by saying I was wrong. I was totally convinced that the city shown in the Pokemon Legends Arceus trailer was Eterna, but turns out it's Jubilife. But in my defense, the geography of the Sinnoh region is very different in the past compared to modern day. It seems like the climate of Sinnoh is going to warm up significantly between Pokemon Legends Arceus and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl / Gen 4 games in general. This is going to cause most of the snow to melt, and it's also going to change up the coastline because, as you all know, Jubilife isn't really on the coast in modern Sinnoh. Since the actual geography of the Hisui region is very different from modern Sinnoh, it doesn't really make sense to compare the routes one-to-one like I did in the previous map breakdown. Instead, I'm going to put literally every single clip shown in the most recent Pokemon Presents in order, as if you're walking from Jubilife all the way around to Snowpoint City. As I go through this, I'm going to explain how I figured all of this out, and I'm also going to point out some very particular and peculiar details that might hint at the gameplay and story. Let's start off at the Team Galaxy headquarters building, because that's where we're going to begin our story and get our starters. Fortunately, we have a map of the ground floor of this building. There's a hallway with a room in the center and one on either ends, with staircases going both up and down, meaning that there is at least a second floor and basement. We know this is the door to outside because it has a doormat. We also see a red carpet with a gold symbol right near this, so we know that when we see that gold symbol, it's right near the door to outside. We see this again in this part of the trailer with the starters, and then Cylene's room is just behind it. That means that Cylene's room is the big center one on the ground floor. Cylene's room has a map on the left and a bird perch on the right. On the left side of the room, we see an Abra, who is likely Professor Laventon since he's seen throughout the region. He probably uses it to teleport around. We also see a curved door on the far left. This area with the papers drying is the right side of the room. Here we see an arched door leading to Cylene's room. We know this because the carpet in there matches her room. The wallpaper also all matches, suggesting that this is all in the same area. We can see the red hallway carpet, so we know that this room is to the left of Cylene's. We can see a staircase in the background that goes both up and down. You'd think that this staircase is the one leading to Komodo's room, but that's actually not the case. Komodo's room is the only one on the third floor. We know this because the window here matches the window outside here. To the left of the room is this table, and to the center is Komodo's desk. On this desk is a photo frame. I wonder what this picture is of. And finally, there's Professor Laventon's room. Unsure where this room is since we don't see many shots of it, and the windows are the generic kind we see all over the building. Moving out of the main building and on to Jubilife. This is probably the most important shot we get of Jubilife. I'm going to refer to it a lot. Here's the building with a scissors banner, and here's a close-up of it from a different angle. Obviously, there's the Team Galaxy headquarters building. This guy hangs out there in every shot we see of the building. Apparently, we check in with him about our research. We see him again here, plus a view down the right side of the building. The Scissors building is opposite this blue building here. To the left side of the Galaxy HQ is this building with the red roof, which we get a close-up of in this shot. Moving down the main road, we pass these orange and blue roof buildings, which we see from a different angle in this shot. We get another view of them from slightly farther away here. Here's a shot from even further away, and even slightly further away, and at night. Notice that at nighttime, the NPCs head inside. That's pretty new for Pokemon games. Usually most NPCs just stay in the same place all the time. At the end of this road is the gateway we saw in the first trailer. Notice that there is a main road, but that there are also roads going around the outsides of this area. We can find another shot of this road from a different angle by taking note of these two trees. See? There's the two trees. Also notice that the roof on this gate is green, but this one is yellow, meaning that this is actually a different gate. We can see on the map there are two gates. One at the bottom, which is the one with the green roof, and one on the side, which has a yellow roof. That's actually how we can place this clip. You can barely see it, but that's the gate right there with its yellow roof. Moving on to Lake Verity. This is the only shot we get that's for sure Lake Verity. It matches the trees and rocks in the area around Jubilife, which we know are called the Obsidian fieldlands. This clip of the Pokédex confirms that this is the name of this area. It's the only area that has an official name so far, so for the other areas, I'm going to just make up some names. Here we see a sweeping view of the area, which includes a river, pine trees, some bridges, and stony outcroppings. The river that flows through this area branches out in all sorts of directions, which is going to make navigating this area interesting. Bastion Legion will definitely be pivotal for navigating all these rivers. We could instead use Weirdeer to jump across them or to climb up the peaks in this area. And of course there's the option of jumping off the peaks and flying around on Braviary. But since this is the first area, we won't have access to all of that yet. We'll be running around with Cyndaquil, Rowlet, or Oshawott on foot. We see a lot of first stage Pokemon in this area like Starly, Meadow, and Kricketot, as well as other bug types like Wurmple and Beautifly. We even see Clefairy in this area at night, suggesting that the available Pokemon will be different depending on the time of day. Most important to note though is that this area contains Shinx, Luxio, and Luxray. We'll be able to catch Shinx and even probably Luxio pretty early on. We see Luxio is only level 18. There aren't gym badges obviously, so I wonder what will determine the level of the wild Pokemon, or if there will just be some wild Pokemon that are much higher level than you. That's actually fine considering they're going for more of a survival type of feeling where the trainer can run away and dodge. But the boss Luxray is level 55, so I highly doubt we actually face it this early. More likely we'll have to come back to this area to fight it. But moving on to the next area, the big tree. We don't know much about this mysterious giant tree yet, but it definitely seems important to the story. Like, what exactly is going on with the tree here? Looks like it's gonna be pretty cool. Judging by the map, it looks like there used to be 3 trees that have been taken down one by one. Maybe the Lake Guardians were originally the Tree Guardians? Anyways, the tree is kind of close to the coast as we can see it in the background of this shot. It's also around this area that the trees shift from pine trees to birch trees, bringing us into the next area, the Birch Meadow. The Birch Meadow is a lot flatter than the Obsidian Fieldlands and has a whole bunch of flowers. The Pokemon here are similar though, with Starly, Bidoof, and Wurmple. But there are also new Pokemon like Munchlax and Snorlax, Bonsly, Eevee, and Ponyta. But eventually we'll follow the river up to the waterfall ravine. The ruins at the center of this area are shown in this clip here. There probably used to be another big tree here, but now there's just a little one. Mostly though, this area consists of a ravine, huge waterfalls, and caves. These caves might actually be how we climb Mount Coronet. The area in and around the ravine is full of steel types. This is also where we'll fight the boss Gyarados, which is level 60. This suggests that we'll fight it around the same time as the boss Luxray, which is only 5 levels lower. Passing through the ravine, we've reached the Great Marsh. I'm using its Sinnoh name because this area is iconic, and I imagine they'll probably keep it the same name in Legends Arceus. The marsh contains orangey-brown pools of mud where we can find a whole bunch of poison and ground-type Pokemon. The pools clear up as we get closer to the coast. We even start to see some green trees, in addition to all the dead ones. It's here that we fight the boss Ursaring. This is probably one of the earlier bosses since it's level 41, significantly lower than the others we've seen. Also, unlike the other bosses, which are shown during the day, Ursaring is only shown at night. Could these bosses be timed events? If you go far enough into this area, you'll reach the coast where the water is blue, but the trees are still mostly dead. Also, just want to point out that you can catch Graveler here, which I'm personally very excited about because Golem is one of my favorite Pokemon. Anyways, moving on to Lake Valor. It's the only lake we see where there isn't a big rock on the island. In the Gen 4 games, those rocks were caves where we caught the Lake Guardians. Since we've got 2 out of 3 rock caves and 1 out of 3 big trees left standing, I'm guessing Azelf is probably living in the only remaining big tree. I wasn't sure what to call this next area. It shows up orangish on the map because the trees are fall colored. It's next to the marsh, which we can see from this aerial shot, as well as this one, which shows the yellow grass from the marsh with the fall colored trees in the background. Much of this area is elevated and is located near a river. Not much to say about this area, but it is absolutely beautiful in my opinion. Fall is my favorite season, so I can't wait to explore this area. Also important to note is that the last down tree pedestal thing is probably at the top of this staircase. This tree probably went down first because the columns here are more broken. The ridge over here overlooks the volcano on one side and the bay to the other. Here we can actually see the volcano, though it looks kind of awkwardly small from this perspective. I wonder if we'll be able to get over there. Maybe we can fly to the volcano? We get a glimpse of the bay in this shot and also in this one, as well as the pathway around the ridge. Here we can even clearly see the water and beach, and in this shot too. It looks like we can only get down to the bay in a couple of places, including probably this one, though it's hard to know for sure since it looks like it might just drop off at the end there. This is almost definitely not this place's real name, but I'm calling it Pincer Bay because of the pincer-like rock things coming out of the water. There are a whole bunch of water-type Pokemon in this area, as well as what looks like dead or dying birch trees. One side of this area borders the ocean, whereas the other side is on the bay. There are a whole bunch of old boats on the bay, probably pirate ships, seeing as they're surrounded by parrots. Overall, this area will probably be a lot more fun once we have access to Bastion. I'm gonna call this last area Snowpoint since in the future, Snowpoint City is located here. It seems like we'll be going uphill towards the left corner where Snowpoint City will eventually be. This area mostly has ice types, as well as a few other types like Psychic. At the lowest elevation, we see some waterfalls. Snowpoint City, which seems to exist at some extent at this time, is across this bridge. We're actually seeing it from the Snowpoint side in this shot because Mount Coronet is in the background. We can use that weird ice plateau thing to place a whole bunch of scenes. This one is clearly from the Snowpoint City side and is just past the bridge, which we can actually see in the background. This is higher up on the Snowpoint City side. We can see Mount Coronet as well as the river, bridge, and ice plateau. This shot was harder to place, but we also get this one with Mount Coronet in the background. So it seems likely that all of these kind of shots are on the way to Snowpoint City. As we get higher up, there's less trees and more snow. We also start seeing a gray trail the closer we get to Snowpoint City that leads all the way up the mountain to Lake Acuity, the last of the 3 lakes. We see the lake here, and like I said earlier, it does have the rock in the center of it, suggesting that Uxie is already hanging out up here rather than in a big tree. Okay, these last clips I'm having trouble placing. They have elements of multiple areas, so they might be in between areas, maybe? I don't know, where do you think these ones are? Overall, there are a few key takeaways from this map breakdown. Firstly, it seems like there used to be 3 big trees, but only one is left standing. Since there are only 2 lake caves, it seems likely that the lake guardians used to be the tree guardians. That would mean that Azelf is hiding in that big tree. This raises an important question though. What happened to the other 2 trees? Like, did humans destroy them? Was it Giratina? I honestly have no idea, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. The other important thing to note is while this game does have a relatively linear path, we're definitely going to need to come back to fully explore every area. Ride Pokemon seem like they're going to be super impactful for exploration, which has always kind of been a thing in Pokemon, but it seems like there's going to be a lot more of that in this game. Not to mention that we almost definitely need to return to areas to fight bosses because there's no way our itty-bitty starters are going to be able to take out a level 55 Luxray. So yeah, that's my full map breakdown of the latest trailer. Any details that I missed? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram @KaylaCapsule for sneak peeks of upcoming videos. Bye!